Hi there, Ted Eichscheid with the Matsu Borough Planning Department again. Here talking about wetlands at Spring Creek south of Palmer. And I think the first thing to talk about with wetlands is what they are. Essentially, the short answer is they are wetlands. Now usually people think wetlands are always wet, but some wetlands are actually temporarily wet, sometimes dry, but they have characteristic soils, they have characteristic plants, and they're wet for part of the year. They come in a variety of forms, and we're really lucky here in the Matsu Borough that about 25% of our land area is covered by some type of wetland, and there's many types. And I say we're lucky for that because wetlands provide a lot of ecological services. You know, sometimes people have looked at wetlands and think, well, what is that? What's that good for? Raising ducks, something like that? But they actually provide a lot of services for us all the time. So one of the real obvious ones here is here at Spring Creek, I see a sign that says baby salmon live here, and indeed we've seen some small salmon. Thought we saw a larger adult under the bridge here. And many of us here in the Matsu Borough, as well as around Alaska, love our salmon. So why do they keep coming back to the Matsu Borough? One of the reasons is wetlands. First of all, wetlands provide habitat for some of the developing young salmon, protect them from predators. They also provide this nice clean water that I see here at Spring Creek. And one of the ways they do that is when we have a rain event, we get some runoff. Anything that runoff is carrying like soil, well, it wants to create a lot of turbidity in the water. It'll add a lot of sediment to the water, smother the spawning beds for salmon. Well, these wetlands act like a filter. The runoff coming through there slows down, sediment drops off before the runoff gets into the stream. So these wetlands help maintain our clean salmon streams. These wetlands also act like a sponge. So when we have large precipitation events, melt events, these wetlands take some of that excess water that would normally cause Spring Creek and our rivers and streams to raise to flood levels. They hold that water. They're a buffer, and they basically minimize flooding, which has huge impacts not only on wildlife but actually on people. Flooding is one of the more devastating things that can happen to our property. Wetlands also hold this water, and they allow this water to infiltrate and recharge our groundwater, those aquifers underneath the ground that many of us use for our drinking water. So wetlands not only provide us with fish habitat, clean water, they provide us with drinking water, and I have to say, beautiful vistas. We saw an eagle before. All these are tied to this wetland habitat that we used to think were wastelands, but now we realize they give us all these free services. So wetlands really matter. They are wonderful. Ted Eichscheid here in the Matsu Borough at Spring Creek, and I hope you join me in my next video.